I'm Roman Yossi of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Matt Duchesne of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Justus Aros of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Ryan Johansson of the Nashville Predators.
You're listening to the Renegades of Puck
with Crazy Charlie.
Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. And before we get to the No Half Step in Hockey coverage, let me direct you to our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to renegadesofpuck.com, you learn everything you need to know about the show. And once you're getting educated about the show, well, that's when you can click on our merchandise tab. That's going to take you straight to our classic logo t-shirt, our Pride logo t-shirt, all of our different special event t-shirts, and so much more. All the gimmicks you've come to know and love and expect from the Renegades Puck are still available in our online store: socks, throw pillows, wall arts, and bed sets. You can outfit your entire home or your entire body or a combo of both. And we sure would appreciate it if you would do that. After all, we've sold out so that you can buy in. Stick taps, love, and respect to everybody who's picked up some merchandise and some brand new t-shirts over this brand new hot summer season. We sure do appreciate that. Social media is of critical importance to this independent hockey operation, so listen up, Renegades. Here's how you can help support the cause, and you can do it without spending a penny and without spending much time at all. It only takes about a second. Go to Facebook, go to Twitter, go to also Instagram and even TikTok, and you can like, subscribe, and follow the Renegades of Puck on all those different social media platforms. Don't forget about YouTube now, over 232 subscribers, and we are so proud to have each and every one of you. We are looking to bolster those numbers and build those ranks up because we do have ambitions for Renegades of Puck TV, and we're going to need your support to build that up. So please, if you could, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on those notifications to get the latest episodes of Renegades of Puck TV. Now, over 200 episodes of Renegades of Puck TV are posted, over 500 videos now posted to our YouTube channel. You can also find the audio podcast, and it's being heard by more Renegades than ever before, thanks to the Full Press Coverage Network. We are so appreciative of everybody over at Full Press Hockey and what they have been able to do to help get us in front of more Renegades around the globe than ever before. We have now passed, Renegades, 4 million downloads and listens for the year 2023, already far surpassing our greatest year ever of 2022. We are now over 4 million listeners, and we are just getting to the draft, so we have another half of year to go to continue building up those numbers. You can catch the podcast on a number of platforms. Just search Renegades of Puck on your preferred platform today, or check out Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon, and several others. The Full Press Predators podcast can be found just about everywhere. Venmo, that's how you can help us out here with a financial donation. Become a sponsor of the show. Just scan the QR code that's currently on your screen or search Renegades of Puck on Venmo today, and you can make a donation. This thanks to generous Renegades just like you watching and listening out there right now. We've been able to make significant upgrades, and believe me, we need to make some more upgrades. We are realizing very quickly that not only do we need to upgrade our networking system, but we also need to work on our ventilation system here at the bunker, as the summer heat has revealed a few deficiencies here in the construction of the studio itself. So if you can spare $1, it would go a long way to helping us get a new air conditioning unit to help us cool things down here in the bunker. So stick taps, love, and respect to everybody who's donated $1. It goes a long way to helping this independent hockey operation. I gotta stop hitting the microphone. Man, you think I'm a professional after 28 years of doing this. Now, so speaking about being a professional, I know it's time to deliver the goods. It's time to deliver the No Half Step in Hockey coverage. So let's get to it. Time for operation number 774. That's right. Time for show number 774. And at this moment in hockey history, well, we slow down for a minute and we talk about things that are more peripheral around the game, as Nashville hosted the NHL Awards as the beginning of a huge week of the NHL invading and taking over all of Nashville, which happens to be our home base here at the Renegades of Puck. It was the awards ceremony and awards show last night at Bridgestone Arena. The draft will be coming up tomorrow, so this will be a recap of the awards and a little bit of a preview of the draft. Also, the Renegades of Puck are in the trenches with me. Brian Bass and Jeff Middleton will be along with their analysis on the same topics coming up in a little bit. They also are going to branch out just a little bit more. They were both on the scene for the awards show last night. I watched it on TV. We covered it from all the different angles and all the different perspectives. And While I don't spend a lot of time on the peripheral parts of the game, I don't get myself too worked up over helmet stickers or uniforms and things of that nature. When the entire league stops and pauses for the awards show, there are things to talk about, especially when it happens to be down the block and it happens to be on the beat that we cover here on a daily basis. So let's talk about the NHL awards show. First of all, great to see Dirk Bentley getting the opportunity to host that event. Dirk Bentley is an incredible ambassador to the hockey community here, and was that before it was cool to be so. It became kind of a trendy and popular thing to do after 2017, of course, but even before that, with the Preds making a couple of runs in the second round of the playoffs, it started to become more popular, more trendy. But Dirk Bentley was a part of all of that, supporting the Preds, supporting the local hockey scene, and skating in the local hockey scene for many years before. So it's really good to see Dirk Bentley get rewarded and get the opportunity to host that. For those longtime hockey fans here in Nashville, everybody recognizes how much Dirk Bentley goes along. And Dirk Bentley even made those appearances at the All-Star game, so he also got rewarded back then. But great to see him. He comes out and he plays the good old hockey game, stomping Tom Connors. Good to hear the update and a little bit of fun with that to open the show. Perfect way to open the show. The first award that was given out was the Ted Lindsay Award for Most Outstanding Player, voted on by the players Connor McDavid. And I went ahead, since they teased the Hart Trophy right after that, I just went ahead and wrote the Hart Trophy down because I got faked out a little bit. That's, of course, for the NHL MVP. Also, Connor McDavid, his third MVP. So let's just talk about that for a second. I mean, Connor McDavid obviously was going to run away with the MVP this year. It's his third in his career, and he did so, and he's probably going to continue winning those awards, especially when he can be teamed up with players like Leon Draisaitl at this point in his career. We moved on. We went to the Lady Byng for Best Sportsmanship. That went to Anze Kopitar of the LA Kings. Anze Kopitar made a really nice speech right there. It's great to see Anze Kopitar is quietly one of the great legends of our generation currently, and he really doesn't get the credit or the respect that he deserves. He doesn't get the hype, doesn't get the pub, doesn't get the talk, but he's going to go down as a lifetime LA King. He's won a couple of Stanley Cups. He's also won some hardware individually over the years. Anze Kopitar from the LA Kings wins the Lady Byng Trophy. The Mark Messier Leadership Award, Steven Stamkos. Again, Steven Stamkos, the opposite of Anze Kopitar. Everybody knows Steven Stamkos. He's a household name, one of the greats of our generation again, and a great captain, a great leader. So Tampa Bay, Steven Stamkos gets the Mark Messier Leadership Award. Calder Trophy, Rookie of the Year. I don't think this was much of a surprise. Matt Beniers from Seattle Kraken, he was electric this year. There were, of course, other good quality candidates, but I really at no point in time saw anybody else as winning this award. When it comes to the Selke Trophy for Best Two-Way Forward, Patrice Bergeron. Of course, Patrice Bergeron from the Boston Bruins wins it again. His sixth overall. That is the NHL record. And I think that becomes a point where you need to think about renaming the trophy as we are starting to have more conversation about updating some of the trophies and trophy names over the last several years. I do think when it comes to the Selke Trophy, the Bergeron Trophy for Best Two-Way Forward in the NHL is possibly something that they need to talk about coming up. Masterton Trophy for Comeback Player of the Year. This was, without a doubt, the best part of the entire presentation of the evening. It was outstanding television, having each of the medical professionals, each of the people who helped tell the story of each of the finalists for the Masterton Trophy. Chris Letang from the Pittsburgh Penguins ends up winning, but overall, this was without a doubt the best single presentation of any award, of any bit, of anything that they did the entire night. It was compelling television, and I wish they had done more. It was heavy, and it was a more serious tone than the night was overall, but it was great television for just a couple of minutes there, and you should definitely check out that presentation. The Vezina Trophy goes to, of course, the best goalie, and let's just start with Linus Ullmark from the Boston Bruins. He wins it. Congratulations. Of course, Linus Ullmark was always going to win it. He ran away with the award this year, as the Boston Bruins ran away with everything this year, except for the Stanley Cup, that is. But Linus Ullmark was always going to win from the Bruins when it comes to the Vezina Trophy. What I truly still still find as a crime is that UC Saros was not a finalist. I understand Hellebuck and Sorokin had great years, but UC Saros could have taken the place of either of those finalists. And what a moment it would have been just to have the highlight video run at Bridgestone Arena and have UC Saros' name get mentioned to the crowd, but he didn't get mentioned. And hopefully he puts that as a chip on his shoulder and comes out this year with the Nashville Predators. All the trade talk, not getting the finals for the Vezina, hopefully he puts that all on his shoulder this next year, and he leads the Nashville Predators to something incredible, and also in the meantime put some incredible numbers and individual hardware up for himself. UC Saros got robbed. Linus Ullmark, though, was always going to win the Vezina. I'm just not happy about the way the finalists ended up working out. The King Clancy Trophy was presented by David Poe for community service and leadership off of the ice. Went to Michael Backlund. Absolutely great job by David Poe. He seemed very emotional, very choked up. It seemed like he had a little bit of difficulty getting through the presentation, being on stage with what you would anticipate is the final time in his NHL career, as now he retires as general manager of the Nashville Predators. But he got to present the King Clancy Trophy, and the crowd certainly was warm and receptive to having David Poile out there on the stage. The Jack Adams Trophy was presented by Barry Trotz, and Barry Trotz got an incredibly warm reception. And of course, the Adams Trophy goes to the best coach, and went to Jim Montgomery from Boston Bruins. Again, the Bruins were so clear and far ahead during the regular season of everyone and everything that it's not a surprise that they cleaned up here on the awards at the NHL Awards Show. And the Norris Trophy goes to the best defenseman. Now, this has become one of the most polarizing and controversial awards in the NHL because it is the best defenseman, but it typically goes to the best scoring defenseman. A lot of discussion over splitting the award into two separate awards, maybe making it something like the Paul Coffey Award for the best offensive defenseman, and then continuing on to have the Norris Trophy as the best defensive defenseman. But since we don't have that right now, what we do have is Erik Karlsson from the San Jose Sharks with his third Norris Trophy win. And I mean, just Erik Karlsson, there was simply no pressure on him. The San Jose Sharks were barely in any games, and their season was terrible from moment one when they opened up against the Nashville Predators with 2 losses in the Global Series. So for Erik Karlsson, piling up the amount of points that he had was actually pretty easy for a player of his caliber, remaining healthy, playing in San Jose, a team that is far, far out of the playoff race from the start of the season all the way through, but he still piled up an incredible individual season, and he goes away with the Norris Trophy, and we'll go back to discussing that award probably more than we do most of the other awards in the next cycle or two. I truly do think the idea of splitting it and having a best defensive defenseman and a best offensive defenseman, Paul Coffey, you could also name it after Phil Housley, a number of different offensive-minded players, 1,000-point-plus defensemen in their NHL career. So that does it for the awards itself. I'll talk about the rest of the even more peripheral stuff to the peripheral stuff here in just a second. Let's do that here in the analysis. Let's take a very, very quick break, and we will be right back right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast.
Hockey players are as unique as the game itself, and your uniform should be tailored to fit you. Rebirth Sports is your sports apparel tailor. From shells, bags, warm-ups, hats, hoodies, branding, and more, let Rebirth Sports be your custom hockey tailor.
And don't forget to tell them they do more than just hockey.
Rebirth Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rebirth Sport, a match made in hockey.
Just a couple of thoughts still to wrap up our 2023 NHL Awards Show recap. And it happened at Bridgestone Arena just down the street here from the bunker, and happened in our hometown and the beat that we cover. So we thought we would take a little bit of time and discuss it. And this is a couple of the peripheral things outside of the awards themselves. Paul McCann, Pred PA Paul, to see or hear the Preds PA announcer doing the network intro. That was awesome, and he did a great job. And of course, he did a good job. He's been an awesome guy on a microphone for so many years, and even far beyond what he's done as the Nashville Predators PA announcer. Paul is a true professional, and he takes what he does very seriously. And he did a great job, not only on the network intro, but doing the PA during the entirety of the show. That is not easy. There are a lot of moving moving parts, and there's a whole lot going on, and Paul did a very, very good job. So I just want to make sure I gave Paul some stick taps, love, and respect. Everybody knows Paul McCann is a big, big supporter of the show, a great Renegade of Puck, a great friend of mine going way back to when I first came here to Nashville, one of the first people I ever spoke to about getting my foot in the door, and he was the first to help me with Slapshot Radio, and all the way through today, my friendship with Paul and his family. His son, Zach, plays for the Renegades of Puck Hockey Club currently and is leading in goals this season for the squad. So long-time relationship with the McCanns, and it was great to hear Paul and doing his thing and see him on such a high stage there at the NHL. Awesome job by Paul. And there's the comedy bits. I don't get the Bissonnette thing. Is that the NHL is so devoid of personality that anybody willing to make just the worst jokes is immediately elevated to the top. I understand he is obviously popular between podcasts, between being on all of the different network broadcasts, between getting all of this individual stuff. I'm the one that's in the minority here, obviously. I don't get the Bissonnette thing. I don't understand why he's on every hockey broadcast. I don't understand why he gets so much screen time. And I just wonder, are there not any other personalities out there or around the NHL that could also sit at a desk and talk about hockey just a little bit? I mean, I know that there are. I know that there are, but that's just me. I don't get the Bissonnette thing. I don't know that I ever will. I've tried. I've tried. I will go all the way back to following him on social media when he was basically, a fourth line troll that came to your town, and he talked about what, he talked about whatever he wanted to talk about. Some of it was very colorful, and some of it was very fun, and he worked that all the way into an international broadcasting career that's obviously going places that perhaps I'm not. So I just don't get the Bissonnette thing, but that's really about as much mileage as I can get out of talking about that. Also, I'm tired of the Nashville jokes. I get it. You got to keep it light. You got to keep it stereotypical. The band playing just the most traditional, boring country sounding music, the cowboy hats, the hot chicken references, the bachelorette party references. As somebody who's lived here in Nashville now and covered hockey for 20 years, I'm so tired of all of those jokes. They are not funny anymore, and I honestly could not wait for those bits to be over with. Between Bissonnette and between the tired Nashville jokes that Bissonnette was mostly a part of, I just didn't care for those parts of the presentation. But I know they got to keep it light, they got to keep it fun, and they got to hit the stereotypes so that people understand the city. But Nashville is not just banjos, and hot chicken and bachelorettes. It's more than that. We had an opportunity to show that off, but obviously that's not what the NHL and the network was looking to do. Now let's talk about some things that were good and that I did like. The outdoor scene, the city looked good. All of those shots coming in and out of the commercial breaks, all of those big sweeping drone shots that they were using. Nashville, you look fantastic. All of the new skyline, all of the new lighting that we see all over Broadway and everything, it looks awesome. It looked really, really good down there. So the outdoor scene was good. It was a huge crowd. Obviously, you line up a free stage and a free concert on Broadway, and you're going to draw pretty easily, and they obviously did. It was great optics for television. You even had Pecorine outside with a catfish, and he was introducing a band. You had all kinds of things on. So from the plaza all the way out to 5th and Broadway, and it seemed like all the way up Broadway for at least a solid block. The crowd was there, and it looked great on television. And again, another big event where Nashville represents quite well, not only on TV, but live and in person. And it was awesome to see. Poyle, Trotz, and Pecorine. It was fun. It was fun. David Poyle was clearly emotional, clearly struggled to get through his little bits there, but the crowd reacted quite well. The thank you Poyle chant went up. Barry Trotz, the new GM of the Nashville Person, the first head coach, of course, you know the history. Barry Trotz got a very nice, warm welcome, but nobody gets the welcome that Pecorine gets, having Pecorine come out as part of The Vezina Trophy presentation was awesome. I wish they would have just given him a few more minutes to talk. I know Pekka Rinne doesn't want to spend any more minutes talking. He doesn't like having the spotlight directly on him. He's okay with it. He doesn't mind a smile and a wave and to say thank you, and he's always so incredibly appreciative. But even though he's going to be a hockey Hall of Famer eventually, he is still just the most humble, most gracious, nicest human being that probably I've ever had the opportunity to cover. It was great to see him back at British Center. Great to see him on the stage, and I so wish, though, it was a missed opportunity. He was out there on the plaza right by his own statue with a catfish. He totally had a chance to throw that catfish right at his own statue. It would have been funny to me. Maybe there's my sense of humor, throwing catfish at your own statue. But it was great to see all three of them be a part of the broadcast, and great to see the reception that all three got and that Pekka Rinne got. And it was also great to see the reception that Gary Bettman got. And listen, Kamish, it's not good that everybody boos you everywhere you go. I know you have this little shtick and routine you do now where you soak it all in and you kind of chuckle and smile about it, but it's not good or healthy that you're enjoying the fact that all of the people who are the fans of your sport seem to have a significant amount of dislike for you. And that's not anything new. And as a matter of fact, in Nashville, Gary Bettman has probably done more to help Nashville than most other teams, most other franchises. So I've actually advocated that he not be lustily booed here in Nashville in the past, but in recent years, I mean, Gary, what the hell do you expect me to do? I can't defend your track record anymore. You're frankly failing at your job, and just standing up there waving to the crowd saying, come on, is that all, soaking it in, the booze and all that, that's unbecoming of a commissioner. And at some point in the very near future, the NHL needs new leadership. You have done all you can do at this point in time to move forward and get that new division over in Europe, and to get the NHL to 40 clubs, which I believe it is eventually going to get to. It is going to take new leadership, and it is going to take much better and radical thinking than what is currently being offered by Gary Bettman, who seems more interested in soaking up the booze of his personal appearances in hockey cities across the North American continent than he does about advancing and growing the game moving forward. So it was fun. It was fun to have Nashville on the world stage for the NHL and have everybody tuning in and to see how beautiful the city is. Chamber of Commerce weather, it was plenty hot. What the hell do you expect? It's the end of June and you're in the South. It was dry. There was no rain anywhere in sight. Everybody was able to get to the outdoor concerts, and it seemed like everything came off pretty great downtown. So very, very excited always to see Nashville succeeding in the spotlight the way that they did, and see the Nashville hockey community coming out the way that they did, and coming not just from Nashville, but from all around surrounding counties and from all over the world. We are a world-class hospitality and party city, a destination city, and there is no doubt that people have come here from many, many nations around the globe to be a part of this week in the NHL celebration. So it was awesome to see Nashville in the spotlight like that. All right, I have shared with you a whole lot of recap when it comes to the awards, but we also have a draft to talk about, and that's coming up immediately. So let me very quickly update you and give you the quick preview on the draft for Barry Trotz. His first ever draft as a GM. At the draft, 13 picks for the Nashville Predators. Overall, that is the most in the NHL, and they acquired 5 of those via trade during last season. In the first round, the 15th and 24th pick are currently the Nashville Predators, with rumors out there that Barry Trotz is looking to move up, and the Montreal Canadiens at number 5 could be a team open to moving back. So we will continue tracking that and see exactly what happens, as the Nashville Predators currently in the first round will be picking 15th and 24th, and then they'll have 46, 47, 68, 79, 83, all in the top 100. And then when we move on past 100, we go to 111, 115, 121, 143, 147, and 175. Now, I've talked about this a couple of times already, but it's worth hammering one more time as we are on the day of the draft here. Get me some guys that get people out of their seats. Barry Trotz, what he told the scouts and what he has told his coaching staff about this year's draft and this year's draft picks. It takes the pressure off of the scouts. Listen, he's taking a lot of pressure on himself as a rookie GM by making a statement like this. But for the Nashville Predators and for any GM when it comes to professional sports, you only have so much time. And for the Nashville Predators, Barry Trotz is a first-time GM, and he has been nothing but aggressive so far. His coaching style, completely the opposite of what he has shown so far early as a GM. Taking the pressure off the scouts, putting the pressure on himself is a license to take risks, especially with players that might be on the fringe. Listen, no matter how good a job you do at scouting and drafting, there are always going to be players that either flame out, are busts, or just cannot handle the pressure of coming over to the North American game and the NHL. So even if you play it as safe as possible, you are still going to miss on several, if not more, of your draft picks. So take some swings on some fringe players that might develop into high-end skilled talent. Look what Pekka Rinne, look what Martin Erat did for this Nashville Predators franchise as very, very low-round drafted players. Pekka Rinne wasn't even seen in a game. He might be a Hall of Famer soon. He's a Hall of Famer as far as I'm concerned, as far as every Nashville Predators fan is concerned. So take some swings, get some guys that will get people out of the seat. If the Preds are able to hit on a couple of these draft picks, even if they seem long shots on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, well, then the Nashville Predators will be highly successful. They have the opportunity to also put some of this draft capital together and move up. We've already discussed about possibly pairing 15 and 24 to move up to 5, but that's going to cost more than just those 2 picks because of what is available at the top end of the draft, and it is very, very wealthy in forward. So for the Nashville Predators, they're going to move up. That would possibly mean moving someone off of the roster. Perhaps a defenseman at this point might be on the trading block, and I'm always looking at that Matt Duchene contract. If there's a team willing to take that money on, then the Nashville Predators might be able to work other trades out during this draft time. But for the Nashville Predators, Barry Trotz, the draft is coming up very quickly and it is moving fast. We've already seen multiple trades and we have seen a couple of signings of restricted free agents in the last couple of hours leading up to the last hours before the draft. It is incredibly intense right now and it's very busy, especially in everything related to the Nashville Predators. Now listen, you've heard me talk about a whole lot of things and I've given you a whole lot of thoughts, a whole lot of analysis, but now I want you to hear from Brian Basson from ontheforecheck.com. He usually has the charts you need to see and the numbers you need to know, but Brian has been on site at Bridgestone Arena and he has been all around the NHL media frenzy here in Nashville this week. Here's Brian's update right now on the Renegades of Puck podcast.
What's up, Renegades? It's Brian Basson here at the Renegades Analytics Desk, and I have been all over Music City the last couple of days, deep in coverage for this week's busy week in Music City, as Nashville has hosted both the NHL awards, which were last night, and of course the first the first round of the NHL draft, which picks up on Wednesday evening. Now, this is going to be a big week for the Nashville Predators. It's the first time we're seeing a general manager who's not named David Poile at the helm of this team in their 25-year history. So it's very exciting, and there's been a lot going on around the league, which, again, when I talk about the league, it's here in Nashville, in our city. So let me sit down with you guys and share some of the thoughts and observations I've had for the first couple of days of this week and what you guys can expect going forward. Well, first off, despite not having any players among the finalists at the NHL Awards on Tuesday evening, the night was distinctly Nashville. There was a tribute to outgoing GM David Poile with appearances from first responders and other folks involved in the Covenant shooting earlier this year, as well as, of course, a raucous ovation for Predators legend goaltender Pekka Rinne, who, if you might have seen on Twitter, Jeff Middleton and I ran into after the award ceremony, and he's always just an absolute delight. What a great guy. He's really just the best. But speaking of goaltenders in Nashville and talking about Nashville players who should have been present, UC Saros being excluded as a Vezina finalist here is something that, well, you've heard me yell about this quite a bit already. But let's talk about the Vezina Trophy because it's a complicated situation, and it may not be exactly what you think that is getting me so upset about this. So UC Saros, obviously, he led the entire NHL in Evolving Wild's goals above replacement metric, just barely beating out Ilya Sorokin, and was second behind Sorokin in goals saved above expected. He finished actually fourth among those finalists, but his exclusion was egregious in my eyes. I definitely think so. But the bigger problem, my biggest gripe with the Vezina Trophy award wasn't about him, but Ilya Sorokin and his second place finish. In my opinion, and a lot of the advanced stats agree, Ilya Sorokin was the best goaltender in the entire NHL this season. He did finish second in Evolving Wild's goals above replacement, but led by quite a large margin the entire league in goals saved above expected. And, he was at 5-on-5, hands down, the best goaltender at even strength, with UC Saros being the best on the penalty kill. But it's what both Saros and Sorokin faced that really drives this complaint that I have about Ullmark. Now, again, Linus Ullmark had a sensational season, and it was historical. Everything that the Boston Bruins were involved with this year was history. But the Boston Bruins themselves might be the primary reason why I don't think Ullmark deserved the Vezina Trophy this year. Both UC Saros and Ilya Sorokin had far worse defensive play in front of them. If you look at Micah McCurdy's isolated impacts on hockeyviz.com, you'll see that both Saros and Sorokin had defenses that were about 6% better than league average on the penalty kill. Ullmark, on the other hand, had a defense that forced 38% less shot quality than the league average. I mean, their defense was 38% better on the penalty kill than the rest of the league. That's an unheard of type of number, and the story was pretty much the same at 5-on-5. At 5-on-5, he had a defense that allowed 28% less than league average. Again, leading the league within the average workload for an NHL goaltender. So again, based on what they faced, and if I would have had a vote, I'm sorry to say, but I do think that Ilya Sorokin did earn the Vezina Trophy as the best goaltender in the league. Second would have been UC Saros, and then third, Linus Ullmark. But again, you can't take away, from these numbers alone, take away the really spectacular accomplishments that Ullmark had. So congratulations to him, and Saros and Sorokin. I don't think this is going to be the last time we're talking about them as Vezina Trophy candidates. Now, moving on, Tuesday really didn't have the huge fireworks of trades and signings that you might expect on the eve of the NHL draft. There were still some stories coming in and out of the league, and from the teams that were gathered here in Music City. So let's talk about a few of those. First off, Pierre-Luc Dubois, who some link to the Predators in the first couple of days after the trade of Ryan Johansson to the Avalanche, was part of a big trade to Los Angeles Kings, where he got an 8-year, $8.5 million deal in a sign-and trade, while Winnipeg got Gabe Vilardi, Alex Iafallo, and Rasmus Kupari, as well as a second-round pick next year. I never really personally saw Dubois as a serious target for Nashville, knowing that the deal that he received was pretty much exactly what he was publicly looking for. And so I think it was a good potential roadblock for GM Barry Trotz to avoid. And speaking of Ryan Johansson, some expected him to slide into Colorado as maybe the second or third center, depending on where young Alex Newhook was deployed. Well, that's not going to be much of a mystery anymore, as the Montreal Canadiens sent a first and second round pick in this year's draft in exchange for the slumping restricted free agent. Speaking of looking at targets that the Predators might have had, obviously there's guys like Alex DeBrincat, who we've heard a lot about but haven't heard too much in the way of rumors so far. Damon Severson, who has one of my favorite defensemen, up-and-coming defensemen in the NHL last season, out of the New Jersey Devils, I thought could have been a really strong target for Nashville because their blue line's pretty depleted. But he was involved in another sign and trade, this time getting $6.25 million over 8 years with the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for just a third-round pick in this year's draft. Now, the price and term might have been too high for Trotz to want to stomach, and I honestly kind of agree. But only losing a third-round pick in a draft where Nashville leads all teams with 13 picks overall seems like something that I hope, at least, that the Predators must have dug into and had some conversations about. And last, word is that Montreal, they might not be done, with some of the rumors indicating an interest in trading down from the 5th pick overall. And there's been plenty of chatter this week, Nashville's interest into possibly moving into the top 10 with their 2 first-round picks this year. Now, that type of trade is exciting. There's so much talent that could be available at 5 that they just couldn't get at their regular pick. But that kind of trade is probably going to require either something like both of the Predators' first-round picks and probably a few more things, including young prospects, or even accepting some salary dump type players. And so, depending on what the board looks like after the first 4 picks, Nashville's going to have a lot of work to do. That is, if a deal's not done in play by that time already, to see what they could do to move in and potentially end up with a franchise-defining 5th overall pick in this draft. And that would be something I think would be really exciting to do in front of the home team and the home fans who have basically kind of been wanting the Nashville to trade up. And by this time tomorrow, at time of recording, we'll have at least 2 new Nashville Predators by the time the first round ends, and I'll be there all day to provide you guys coverage and report, talk with the prospects and much, much more. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We're halfway through this really busy week, and it's a week that's going to define, the next 25 years of this franchise. So I'll see you guys in the trenches, and let's hope Nashville walks away tomorrow in the first round with one hell of a haul. Back to you, Charlie.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Tracy, owner-operator of Strong Style Fitness. And that's me and my training assistant, Rizzo. And we are here to bring you fitness that meets you where you are by offering circuit classes, bar-inspired classes, Tabata workouts, boot camps, guided stretching, and more, all taught by a certified personal trainer, me. To learn more, go to our website, strongstylefit.com. Subscribe on YouTube at Strong Style Fitness. Follow on social media at Strong Style Fit. But most importantly, let's get you moving. It doesn't matter if it's your first workout or you've been doing it for years. Strong Style Fitness has the workout that meets you on your journey and helps you along the path to a happier, healthier life. I understand where you've been, what you were going through, and where you were going, and I want to take you there. We'll see you on the mat. Mwah.
And if it wasn't busy enough already with everything going on, the NHL awards show, the draft, the Nashville Predators making signings. By the way, Jake Livingstone, 2-year deal with the Nashville Predators, defenseman. We'll talk more about that on our post-draft show and what that means moving forward. But also, the Nashville Predators released their schedule for the upcoming season. So for the 2023-2024 season, this is the schedule right here. I went ahead and put it full screen so you can get the best possible look at it. But as you can see, we now know exactly what the mission is, Renegades Puck. We now know where we're going to be. We now know how we can start to plan ahead and what we will be doing as far as taking road trips, as far as games we'll be covering, and special events happening all around the world of the Renegades of Puck. Sure to appreciate the Nashville Predators and the NHL for getting that schedule out in the middle of what was already an insanely busy week, but it's great information to be able to bring you guys. Just came out a matter of hours ago. So awesome job by the NHL and Nashville Predators getting that schedule out. And now it's moving on to the draft. We'll be back in the trenches to recap the entirety of the draft. I'll be trying to get as many of the Renegades as possible and their thoughts and their intel from the field and their reports from everything that's been going on down at Bridgestone Arena in the next couple of days. We'll probably take at least 2 episodes to recap the entirety of the draft and everything that's going to be happening around Nashville for the next couple of days. So it is incredibly fun to be around the Nashville area right now. If you are in the area, make sure you hit us up on social media. The Renegades of Puck are fully immersed in the crowds, in the arena, in the building. We are everywhere right now. We've got reports coming from the front lines all day and night long. So if you're in the Nashville area right now, make sure you hit us up on our social media platforms. We'll be back to recap everything that happened in the draft coming up in the next couple of days. Sure to appreciate each and every one of you out there for watching and listening. Over 4 million listens now for the year 2023, and looking to continue building on those numbers. We're always looking to continue building on those numbers, one Renegade at a time, one Renegade at a time. That's what we do every day here in the trenches. So jump in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Stick taps, love, and respect.